What might have been for the Republic of Ireland in Faro last night. Stephen Kenny said it would have been the Republic of Ireland's greatest ever qualification victory. But Cristiano Ronaldo put paid to all of that. John Giles will be with us later to look back in the game. But right now I'm joined on the line by former Republic of Ireland international Stephen Hunt. Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening, Nathan. How are you?
I came away from the commentary last night quite invigorated by the performance and by the future of Irish football. Watched the game back earlier today and didn't change my mind a huge amount. This was a performance full of promise, full of youthful enthusiasm, but also tactically well set up. It does seem as though there was very little wrong with this, except there's not much you can do about the magic of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, I think. And the referee, may I add, I thought the referee was shocking last night. The Irish boys, we deserved better, and it was a real shame we didn't get something out of the game. I think there's more disappointment for me, Nathan, today that we didn't get something out of it, because I know the boys deserved to win the game, let alone draw it, and then let alone lose it, unfortunately.
Was there anything that could have been done differently in that last 5-10 minute spell, which is when really Portugal did start to, I won't say bombard the Irish goal, but did start to dominate possession completely, play the game inside the Irish half? Was there anything Ireland could have done, Stephen Kenny could have done tactically to change that?
No, I think it's very difficult. I think Aaron Connolly wasn't firing on all cylinders, even though he had a very good game for winning the ball back and doing a job for the team. I think obviously James come on to have a work rate to get the team up the pitch if he could with the ball, but he couldn't get on the ball in good areas to get us up the pitch either. So it was very difficult, I have to say. Listen, the first goal for me was one of the best headers, because he's got Duffy, who, by the way, was outstanding with the others at the back, flying at him full tilt to try and stop him heading it. And Ronaldo hasn't even flinched, and he's had a bullet header go in from 2 yards inside the penalty spot. It's a fantastic header. It's a fantastic goal. You always say stop the crosses for the 2 goals if you can, but then you've got to try and stop a man that has a bigger presence than you'll ever, until you stand beside him and realise how big he is. So it's a real shame for us. We were excellent. It was enjoyable. That's why I was frustrated, because the referee was horrendous, in my opinion. It was one of the worst refereeing performances I've seen in a long time. Well,
and you were there on arguably the worst refereeing performance we've ever seen when it came to a Republic of Ireland international. Just on the referee then, let's get it out of the way. The penalty, was it a penalty? Cristiano Ronaldo, should he have been sent off? Should Aaron Connolly have had a penalty?
So if I'm looking at the game last night and I analyse that situation, you go back to it. So you go to VAR. Fair enough, VAR is there for a reason. But if you spend 5 to 10, literally 2 to 3 minutes, I suppose, in real time, looking at it and repeating itself, and you still give the penalty, you can't be sure. If you know it's a penalty, you look at it, you go once, twice, maybe, okay, it's a pen. He spent 5, 6, 7, 8. It was almost like they were looking for angles to give Ronaldo the penalty, and that's a real shame to say, but that's how it felt on that situation. So for me, it wasn't a penalty. And then you go to the sending off, Nathan. Is it a sending off? No, it's not. I think Dara probably went down a little bit easy, but in the letter of the law, he raised his arm. But we wouldn't want the player sent off for that. If it was that, he hit him in the shoulder. It was a little, can I say it, a little bitch slap to a senator, I'm going to say it. And that's all it was. And I think Dara O'Shea was trying to be clever and get him sent off if he raised your arm. I can understand where he was coming from, but he was never going to get. They didn't even review it. That was the disappointing thing as well. They didn't review it. They didn't show a replay of that. So they just totally ignored it and didn't show the referee, which obviously was another. It's shocking. It's a worse performance for refereeing, way worse than the ONeill handball, because the referee has got no VAR and not a situation to get him out of trouble. So for me, it was really frustrating for the lads, and how they played in the night, they deserve to win.
To look at it another way, Portugal had 72% possession. They had 29 shots on goal. Now I think only 7 of them were on target, and you have a penalty kick, a free kick, and the 2 goals within those 7. But if we're talking about a new era for Irish football where it's not a backs to the wall type job, Ireland with only 28 possession, it didn't feel like a backs to the wall type job though.
No, it was structured. That's why we always felt like we were. Sorry, I'm just cut off there. Someone.
Yeah, go on. You're fine.
It almost felt like we were ready to counter attack at every opportunity. That's why it didn't feel like a backs to the wall. We had Connolly in good pockets of space We had Matt Doherty, Seamus Coleman, who, by the way, both of them were excellent. They carried the ball up the pitch well, and I got us out of trouble well. We never felt like we were always under pressure too much that way. So we always felt like we had a goal threat. Adam Ida was putting his back in. He was doing a good job for the team. So, listen, I was really happy with the performance. I was really happy for Stephen. I think he's held his head high in low times, and I think last night would have been a higher performance, a higher level, and I think he's had dignity throughout it all, even if he was, for me at the start, when he was given the job, I wasn't too sure, but I think he's done a very good job now to get us where we are, and hopefully we can go forward now and be a positive.
It seems as well he found a way last night of playing to the strengths of Ireland's best players in Seamus Coleman and Matt Doherty, and they were key to that counter-attacking style that Ireland, when they won the ball back, and they won a lot of possession in and around their own area, they weren't hoofing it long to Connolly and Ida. They were working it out to Doherty and Coleman, who would then take their time and wait for either Connolly or Ida to make that spinning run in behind and play it out the wings. That he has found a system, and maybe because of injuries he hasn't been able to play it all the time, but actually Coleman and Doherty have the talent and the experience to play in those sort of situations and to play calmly and choose the right options.
Yes, and they've always had that, Nathan, the two of them, especially the two of them are really good guys. But what I would say is that the back three and the goalkeeper were very calm in possession, even though we give away the penalty, which it wasn't a penalty, and yes, it wasn't the best of passes from the goalkeeper, from Gavin, but I still think we were trying to do the right thing and try and structure it. And then, because if you're sucking on people and you're trying to bring Portugal on, you are then looking to hit him on the break with a longer pass maybe, because you've got Adam Ida and you've got Connolly who have bags of pace. So you are trying to play the ball in tight spaces and you rely on calm people. And I thought last night we were excellent with that. And going forward, of course, the next game is going to be different. But last night's performance for me was pretty much perfect, apart from the referee, who every decision 50-50 went against us. And him smiling at the end probably summed it up, really.
Aaron Connolly's performance last night, so he got himself into the positions to create probably half a dozen half chances, one or two brilliant chances, could have had a penalty kick, should have taken the opportunity when he went down a little bit too easily. So he's getting himself in the positions, but he's lacking that little bit of composure or class, or what is it in front of goal? And how, as a manager, does Stephen Kenny work with that? Like, do you want Connolly for all he brings, or are you concerned about the fact he seems to lack that goal-scoring touch?
No, I don't believe in that at all, actually. I think, Nathan, it's a very much an early case for a young lad trying too hard maybe and not had enough games on an international level to feel as composed as he would do at his club for Brighton. I've seen him score some very good goals for Brighton, play some good performances, not snatching at things. I think the main moment where I thought, okay, you may be trying too hard is where he had a back header at the goal and it was 6 yards out. A calmer, a more experienced Aaron Connolly probably would have taken that down. I tried to take it down and maybe get a back heel off or have a better shot at goal. So I'm not worried about his ability for sure. I'm just making sure probably down the line he stays focused on his football and the front three strikers that we have and other ones that will come into play will have an impact.
Just talk a bit more about Matt Doherty's performance, because I think it was his best performance in an Ireland jersey. I never thought I'd see it today where Matt Doherty was being compared to Shane Duffy in Moscow against Russia, and the way he was putting his body on the line and the way he was dominating out on that left-hand side. Like, he comes across as a very languid character, very laid back, which when you're in an international jersey in particular doesn't always go down too well with the supporters, particularly where you want to see a bit of fight. Him as a personality, like that, can you talk about him and the way he played last night and the type of character that he is?
You must feel like, I feel like sometimes I'm Matt Doherty's dad to a certain degree. I'm his biggest fan. I think Matt Doherty defends very much similar to how a John O'Shea defended. They never dive in. They always are composed. They're always waiting for the attacker to make a mistake in their attacking play, then almost trying to force a mistake out of them. So he defended with his right angles last night. He got himself in positions where he was always in line of stopping the cross, so they couldn't cross, and then he was always in line of being able to pinch it back. And then when he does pinch it back, he doesn't normally... He had a comfort last night of coming inside on his right foot and playing things inside and going again. He had his season that defined him. He played left wing back for Wolves in League One, where yes, it's not the greatest of standard, but he actually got a lot of confidence and momentum from that season to believe in himself to go on to be a player he is today. So I think he'll have a bounce back almost from last year from Spurs. I think Nuno will help the situation, make him feel a part of the team, where I think Jose wanted him to defend a bit more aggressively and in your face. But even I'm not Mourinho, but I know he can't do that. So he's comfortable in his surroundings last night. I think Stephen Kenny, in fairness to him, and Keith Andrews and the guys in the background have worked with him. They understand him. They see his personality for what he is, and they admire that. So I think he's in a good place on the international level at the moment. I think hopefully today the Irish lads will pick themselves up and go again, because I think there's no reason apart from the points on the board to be too disappointed.
Yeah, the points on the board is an issue. The Republic of Ireland aren't going to qualify for the World Cup. 0 points from 3 matches. 1 win in 14 games for Stephen Kenny. The critics will say that results simply haven't been good enough. But based on the performance last night, do you think you've now seen enough for Stephen Kenny to deserve to get the extra 2 years that get him to a European Championship finals?
When Stephen Kenny got the job, I always said it has to be a 4-year rebuild in terms of the structure of it all. Now, if Stephen Kenny doesn't get the next couple of results, of course, there's going to be pressure. That comes with it. But what I would say is that he needed time to adapt the style. Now, even last night, in the commentary early on in the game, on the Irish TV commentary, it's almost like we're having a heart attack when we're passing the ball. He's making me nervous, Dara, actually, on RT. Relax, we're playing that way. We're trying to suck teams onto us. Be better, like.
It did almost cost us a goal. It did almoust cost us a goal with Bazunu trying to play it out.
If we're going to play that way, Nathan, we've got to be able to say, okay, this is the new way of playing. We are trying to make space in the middle third and the final third for us to develop the ball in there. Sometimes it can be frustrating, especially against the weaker teams at home when we are trying to pass it. So we need some patience with it. We might have to play a different way against the weaker teams to be a bit more direct and a bit more in their faces, and maybe get the ball forward a bit earlier against these teams that can't handle the physicality of it all, because even in the Premier League and the Championship now, physicality is going out the window. Having said that, we're getting it back with the new rules, so it's good to see.
Looking towards Saturday then and Azerbaijan, so the Republic of Ireland in recent times under Martin O'Neill have had some big away performances, the victories in Austria, the victory in Wales, but at home it's a long time since Ireland dominated a game. Yes, we had Shane Long against Germany, but that was a backs to the wall job where Ireland took their one chance, whereas having more possession, creating more chances at home is something that's rarely happened. For that to happen on Saturday night against Azerbaijan, should Stephen Kenny now stick with this system of 3 at the back, 5 at back, whatever way you want to look at it? Or actually, at home, do you go to 4 at the back? Do you make some changes? Do you look for more creative players and not try and play in the counter-attack?
The one thing we do know about this regime is that they work hard on the tactical side of things, and they watch a lot of videos and they analyse a lot. The biggest concern for me was sometimes you can overanalyze. How do you beat this team? Is this team back 4 or back 3? Are they weak in the air? So why don't we then dominate with a physicality through the middle and be a little bit more direct? Or are these teams, are they spacing behind, or slow centre back? So I think Stephen and the team will have figured out Azerbaijan by now. But by the way, I'm not totally a San Marino. They're actually not a bad outfit. So I think we've got to figure out, how do we beat them, the most effective way to beat them, and do we have to change formation for that? And if we do, so be it. We have players that are playing Premier League, Championships, yes, some League One, but they're all bright players. They can adapt to the situation. If we do need to go to a back 4, so be it. Whatever way we can to win as many as we can, 2 or 3 or 4 goals on Saturday, to get the Irish fans behind us and back rocking again.
So you don't think it's a situation that Stephen Kenny should now settle on that system and run with it going forward, that actually, depending on the opponent, depending on what you're trying to do in a game, the players are able to be flexible when they've very little time on the training pitch?
Yeah, they have to be. They have to realise that the weaknesses of the opposition, adapt to that. If that means we are a little bit more direct, or that means we need to play through the lines better, then let's go with that. I think Stephen and the guys in the backroom team will understand that maybe go with Collins and Ida and get Adam Ida on the flick-ons. But listen, I haven't seen Azerbaijan, so it's very difficult for me to say, but I know they'd have analysed it well, and if we need to change, then I think we should be well able to change.
Adam Ida's performance last night as well, up front, and such an experienced attack alongside Aaron Connolly, the intelligence of his runs and the strength he showed. I mentioned in commentary that they've been looking for that, the Irish coaching staff. They'd mentioned it, that he's a lovely lad, Adam Ida, but actually when he's on the pitch they need him to use that physicality a little bit better. Last night we really started to see some glimpses of that.
Yeah, well, I think Adam Ida hasn't been left out on loan by Norwich for a reason. So obviously he's in good form at his club. They obviously see him playing a bigger part in what he has done over the last couple of years, not to allow him out on loan. So I'm looking forward to him developing. I think he's got a real good sound head on him to want to get better and to be structured. So I think he will get better, Adam. And you're right, he did lead the line yesterday. Just good bursts, just good runs. Didn't run around like a headless chicken. Was good in his areas where he ran, and he was good for the team. So it was nice to see. And to be fair to Aaron Connolly, he was trying to do the right things. He was in the right positions. Listen, I'm maybe a little bit disappointed Troy Parrott didn't come on for him, but he's in good form as well, Troy. So the future's bright. Sit tight. The point sport is a bit drastic, of course, but there's a bigger picture in this, hopefully.
And just very briefly, last night was an exhausting game to even watch. The players are straight back to Ireland today. Maybe a light session tomorrow, game on Saturday, with the huge disappointment and come down, having gone so close to beating Portugal. Energy-wise, is it an easy thing for them to get back up for the game on Saturday, or do you think naturally he'll need to make a few changes to freshen it up?
I think energy-wise, they won't be too disappointed in terms of where they're at and where they're trying to get with Stephen. I think they probably believe that they're going the right way. I think the performance was good, that they actually won't be too disappointed. The reaction from the aftermath to people's families and things like that make a difference, because players will be speaking to their families. Normally, if players are getting criticised, the mum and dad is probably having a go, saying, I can't believe they're having a go at you. But generally, it's been all positive for the players today, and they deserve it, even though we lost. Don't get used to losing, of course. Crack on to the next one and look forward to it.
All right, Stephen Hunt, great stuff as always. Thanks for that.
Cheers, Nathan. Thank you.